Okay, 10 years of waiting for the Bitcoin spot ETF, and it is finally here. We've had a couple days to reflect. I'm going to give the positives and the negatives. So I've always been in support of a Bitcoin spot ETF as long as it tracks the price accurately and as long as they actually are buying Bitcoins on the back end when people purchase into this ETF product or products. So, several approvals look like about 11 of them got approved, and they started trading. Now we've seen various different institutions say that they're not going to allow trading into the ETF, and I think that was like Vanguard. And there was several other kind of speculations swirling about Citigroup and various other entities that weren't going to let people trade it or something like that. But that's kind of not the important thing. That'll get hashed out in the long run. But one of the positives that I had said previously in a video is that the boomer generation feels more comfortable buying these products in their Fidelity accounts, in their Charles Schwab accounts, and their traditional brokerage accounts. And even though it doesn't seem like it's much for us, and we might have been saying it for the last 5, 10, plus years or whatever, just, open up a Coinbase account or just buy Bitcoin. It's not that hard. It was very kind of foreign and very weird for them. So I do think a lot of them will jump in on this, especially in the retirement accounts where that money was sort of locked in that, and various money will flow to that. Now, my big negative takeaway in the first couple of days here is the way they did the pricing on it. It should have been multiples of 10. If Bitcoin is 43,000, for instance, then the thing should be $43. It shouldn't be suddenly $38 for the thing. And if you guys notice that just right off the rip, and it's almost like I think it's going to kind of trade in its own world, because people are going to be like, well, what does this mean? Like, when I buy this, what is this like? How many fractions of a Bitcoin? How many Satoshis is this? Or they're not going to necessarily know that. But if they looked up the price of Bitcoin and they're seeing it at 43,000, and then the product is $38, that doesn't seem to correlate. It should be $43. It should be multiples at 10. So that's my big kind of like negative takeaway from it. Whether that'll stop big institutions from flowing into it, or if some of the boomer generation will be completely oblivious and just throw money at it anyways, regardless, because they're not really checking the actual price of Bitcoins, But the thing is on stuff like these business news channels, there's the price ticker that's showing what Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff is going for now. So that's been a more consistent sort of thing on the ticker tape, or the little thing kind of going along the bottom of the screen for them. And I do think that will create some confusion, where it's just like, well, what's this actually worth if you kind of related it back to the actual price of Bitcoin. So that's my one big negative to it. I was sort of surprised. There was obviously a lot of drama around it. Again, I said it was 50-50. It was like, man, it seems like, there is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of full steam ahead that they're going for this. But Gary Gensler kept tweeting that, there's all kinds of problems in the crypto world. And he did that 2 days before they ended up launching it, which was weird. Then a hacker took over the Twitter account, or X account, and announced that the ETF had been approved. Then the SEC came out and said that wasn't us. Our account was compromised. But then when they actually did launch the thing, then they didn't make an announcement on X or on Twitter. So it was just weird, very weird. And, it really has been a clown show, to be honest with you. Just with the SEC, they've sued everybody except FTX, which ended up obviously being completely fraudulent. And it took a guy like me trying to tell people 11 days before it collapses that, hey, get your money out. This doesn't look right. But the SEC doesn't go after them, or didn't kind of see anything suspicious with them, but then sued all these legitimate companies like Kraken and Coinbase and Bittrex and Binance, So anyway, guys, that's a little bit extra and everything. But as far as the Bitcoin ETF is concerned, what do I think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin and the other assets going forward? Obviously, we've seen a slight rotation into Ethereum because people think that they're going to approve Ethereum ETFs in the future here in 2024 sometime, people will do the same thing and they'll chase the run up for Ethereum, so they kind of rotate into that, it seemed like. And then I do think we see some of that spill over into some of the other layer ones. Maybe we have a slight pullback, but I wouldn't really bank on just a ginormous pullback personally, because I just think that it's going to be a wait and see, obviously, for the next week or two, and who's to say what's good and what's not. There's a lot of money sloshing around in the stock market, and if it does spill over to the Bitcoin ETF, and that does actually buy Bitcoin on the back end, that could hold the price up higher. So again, I think we just kind of continue sort of bebopping around, but there's a lot of activity on these chains. And if you see some chains really kind of took off, even in kind of the, just kind of the background, one of the chains that I actually mentioned previously was Telos, which is, was a fork of EOS, and went off the original kind of like EOS, basically the original EOS ICO kind of holders. It originally went off of that for the airdrop, and the price had really gotten beaten up. And then, here as of the last few months, with a lot of stuff is banged, pretty hard and everything, but it did like a 5x. So, it got pretty low on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, and it really kind of made a resurgence if you check out Telos again. But again, they were the first EOS software with an Ethereum EVM. EOS now has implemented Ethereum EVM as well. So, that opens up some doors for those things, but then there's a lot of other stuff popping off that's, gotten popular. Obviously the ICP play, that I'd mentioned months ago, that Jerry Banfield was pushing it, and we should take note because Jerry can push traffic, and he has pushed videos, and now Definity has given him a grant to continue with this video push and education of the ICP community, or the crypto community, about ICP. So a lot of kind of positives happening and stuff like that. I think we're going to have to see over the next week or two. But that is my one main complaint about the Bitcoin spot ETF is they didn't just make it multiples of 10, so that makes more sense. Maybe they did that purposely because they didn't want to show that, hey, it's not tracking the price over time. It really wasn't correlated kind of with the price off the rip. So it's kind of weird. Anyway, guys, what are you guys buying? Leave a comment below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. There was a snowstorm out there. Time to go ball out and then not slip into the ditch. So follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steam, Twitter, Hive, DTube, everywhere.